Hey folks, Jeff here. I thought we could talk a little bit today about some of the challenges that we face in today's market when we're trying to buy a home. Have you ever been cruising down the freeway and you're just trying to keep up with the traffic? And then you glance down and you realize that you're well over the speed limit. Well, it's not uncommon to have that happen. We get caught up in what's going on around us, and we may find ourselves in a situation that we really didn't set out to be in. Well, in the same way, you might be out looking to buy a home now. You may have found a home, but the competition to win that home, to get through the bidding war on that home, may cause you to be traveling faster than what you really intended to do. So I thought we could take a couple of minutes today to talk about when it's time to tap the brakes a little bit, to let off the gas and maybe slow it down just to make sure that you're still safe. One of the first things we might think about is whether the numbers really work for you. Here's what I mean. You've gone down, you've gotten pre-approved for a certain amount. Now you found a home, you're able to put in an offer on that home. Your offer is within that upper boundary of that pre-approval. Well, that's great. But now the next question is, once that's done, are you still going to be financially where you need to be? Maybe you can get the loan for this home, but do you have more expenses that are going to come with getting moved into that home and set up so you can actually live there? Maybe you find that the closing costs are going to be more than you anticipated. Maybe you find out that there were not the inclusions that you had anticipated, and so now you've got to go out and buy a bunch of new appliances. Well, you have to take a hard look at the numbers and decide whether this really works for you, not just on paper, but whether it works in your real life. And if you find out that you're getting a little bit close to where you're going to have trouble getting by, well, maybe it's time to tap the brakes. Another thing that may come up that is a good time to step back and reflect on whether this is really the right move for you is just to think about what your real needs are. Now, you may be able to get into a home that has more than you need and you can afford it, and that's great. But if you're making an offer on a home that is more than you need and you're taxing yourself financially, well, maybe it's time to tap the brakes. Or if you're just desperate to get into a home and the one you find doesn't meet your needs, it doesn't have the room that you need or the room to grow that you will need, then you need to tap the brakes. You don't want to get into a home just for the sake of being in a home if it's not really going to meet your needs. So you may need to slow it down a little bit. Another situation that may come up, especially in today's market, is that you may feel pressured to waive the inspection contingency. Effectively, the idea behind that is that you could be saying that no matter what comes back in the inspection report, you are still on the hook to buy the home. Well, a lot of homeowners may just expect that that's the offer you're going to make, and there may be others out there making that offer, and it may not be a bad idea for them or for you. But you have to ask yourself how you're going to respond if, for example, the inspector's report comes back and says that there's terrible mold in the basement and termite damage through the whole house. Well, what are you going to do at that point? In this, what we're doing is we're kind of saying, well, you're on the freeway, excuse me, you're headed down the road, but you're still looking ahead and saying, well, what may come up that could be dangerous for me? And when we start thinking that way, maybe we ease off, or maybe we go on at the appropriate speed, but we're just very alert and thinking ahead about how we're going to respond. Well, take the time to talk to your realtor about how you would respond if an inspection report came back with something that you didn't anticipate. Now, to be fair, every inspection report is likely to have something on it. After all, you're buying a home that may be years or even decades old. It's a used home, and you would expect to have something show up on that report. But are they things that you can cope with? Now, this goes back again to the finances. For example, if you found that it needs a new roof based on the inspector's report, well, maybe you have the ability to go up there and re-roof that thing yourself. Well, great. And if you have the finances to do that yourself, great. If you need to pay somebody else to do it for whatever reason, well, that's fine too. But again, with the finances, if you've maxed out all of your resources just to purchase the home, are you going to have what you need to do the necessary and immediate repairs? Well, it's something you need to think about. You may need to tap the brake. These are a few of the things that may come up. Of course, there are many other circumstances that could cause you to decide that maybe you need to step back, to reassess, to not make an offer on this home, even though it seems nice. But please take the time to talk to your realtor about that. If you're just starting the process, I'd love to work with you. Please feel free to reach out to me at 801-556-2259. I'd be happy to help you figure out not just the destination that you want, but the best speed to get there. Again, 801-556-2259.